Van Show. He's a monster on a mission to talk to lots of folks. Van Show. Van Show. Van Show. Van Show.
Hey everybody, it's the Van Show and extra special guest, extra super awesome, Shiho Pate. Say hello, Shiho.
Hi!
Hey! Oh my gosh, we're so happy to have you on the show.
So happy to be here.
Are you?
Yes,
Yeah?
I am very
Okay,
happy.
good. Sometimes people are terrified to be here. They're like,
Yeah,
they
that's
see all
it.
the fur and felt, and they're like, ah!
You guys are adorable.
Oh. Do you hear that, Fernie?
Meow.
Yeah. Fernie loves you.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Love you too.
Oh, look, Fernie's waving at you. All right. So Shiho, we want to learn a bit about you. So first of all, tell us where you're from.
I am originally from Japan,
Uh-huh.
but now I'm in California.
Wow. How long ago did you move to California?
When I was in high school, so long time ago.
Yeah. Well, now, all right, we brought you on the show because you're an artist, and we want to hear about your art. So tell us a little bit about when did you discover that you really loved art, or that you kind of had a passion for it or a knack for it?
Yeah, great question. So I was always doodling. Of course, when I moved from Japan, my English wasn't that great, so I doodled to kind of communicate,
Oh.
and that really helped me. And I was always reading children's books, so I was like, oh, maybe I can kind of do both. So that's probably when I realized, like, oh, art is a thing, and I can make it a career.
Oh, so I mean, from the start, you were thinking about illustrating children's books.
Not necessarily. I think the doodle came first, but then I realized that was a communication tool, and then the reading was like another thing I like to do, so kind of combined it. Yeah.
So as an artist and an illustrator, you've worked in books and in video games. Is that right?
Yes, I have. Yeah. So lucky.
So that means that you've done digital art and analog art. Do you still work in both mediums, or do you combine them, or how does that look?
Yeah, so I do. For video game art, I have to use Photoshop. It's a digital drawing program.
Sure.
And then for children's book, I combine both. So I do Sumi ink and pencil, and then I scan that in and add color with Photoshop. So yeah, it's been fun.
Can you tell us a little bit about what Sumi ink is?
Oh, Sumi ink is a Japanese ink, usually black ink. I use it the traditional way, where there's a block of ink and you have to kind of scrape it onto a stone and then add water, or add water is the first step. But
Very
yeah,
cool.
and that makes the ink. So I really love that, and I'm using my grandmother's stone that she used to use. So I
Wow.
feel extra special doing that.
Totally.
Yeah.
So not only are you doing ink art, but you're also a sculptor. Could you talk about how you got into sculpting?
Yeah, so I do wood sculptures and do exhibitions in galleries in LA. How I got into it? That's a great question too. I think the best way to answer is that I kind of got bored with just doing things on paper, and I was like, oh, what if I can do it with a 3D object? And wood was the most accessible thing. So I tried it and I loved it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think it's one of those things where as your creative wings get stronger, they want to stretch wider.
Yes.
That's
It's
awesome.
been fun. Yeah.
Cool. Well, lastly, before we I want to talk about your book, but first I want to ask you, since you're an illustrator and you write or you draw the pictures from other people's words, what does that collaboration process look like to you?
Oh, it's been really fun. I don't really get to talk to the author until the book is finished.
Oh.
But you know, my editor, my art director, kind of communicates to them, and then they communicate through my art director.
Okay.
So that's been really fun. And now I just saw him, and we did the signing together.
Oh,
So
wow.
he's really nice. Tommy's really nice.
All right, let's talk about the book that you brought.
Yes. So this is the book. Oh, should I not pick it up?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay, cool. It's called The Rescues, Finding Home.
Cool.
It's about two rescue dogs. One has 3 legs, one has 1 eye.
Aww.
So yeah, they're sweet stories. It's a easy to read chapter book. So there's 3 chapters in the book. Lots of illustration. I think I can do a sneak peek.
Sure.
something like this.
Cute.
Yeah.
So what was kind of your inspiration for the type of dogs you wanted to draw?
Oh, me and my art director did a lot of different sketches, a lot of type of dogs. I think we just settled on what makes sense for the story and the energy of it.
Okay.
We didn't want it to be too tailored, and it's a rescue dog, so I want them to have kind of a history of where they came from.
Yeah.
So visually, we try to incorporate that.
I love that. So you've done a bit of backstory for the dog.
Yeah.
Very cool. I love it. So I also want to mention that you are a Junior Library Guild member, or illustrator.
Yes.
And so they had a question for you about a different book that you wrote,
Yeah.
Ramen for Everyone. They wanted to ask, why do you think it's important to pass down the cooking recipes and techniques to your daughter and their generation?
Oh yeah. Thanks for asking. I think.
You're welcome.
I think my mom and I cooked all the time, and the best way I learned is by cooking together, right?
Oh.
And there's so many things I learned other than cooking, like patience and be really careful with your knives and respect them, and that kind of stuff. You learn along cooking. So I think those are important. And I cook with my daughter and always respect the kitchen, keep it clean, that kind of stuff. Also recipes, it just evokes family traditions and cultures, and it's a good starting point to have conversations. So I think it's important. I love it.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Man Show!